Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. Welcome to Diddy Trial Day number 21. I am It's Kim. I am filling in for Andy while he is away, and we are going to go through the recap of this day, all of this day. So, to start off with, I think it's important just to let you guys know that it was a short day. Today started at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and wrapped up just before 5 Eastern Standard Time, probably closer to 4:45-ish. So, it was basically a half day. So, this summary isn't going to be as long as the other ones are because there wasn't as much court. And the only witness we had on the stand today was Jane. She returned again today for cross examination, and that's what we're going to focus on. So before the jury came in, the lawyers and the judge discussed the juror. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday that it seems to be this controversy, this drama with one of these jurors, and that the government filed something under seal to basically say, we don't want this juror on here anymore. They need to go. And Diddy's team has been going, no, they're fine. We can keep them. We can keep them. So we got a little bit more clarity on this today. It still seems like there's a lot of stuff that's hidden, but this is what we know. So the defense claimed that this was a thinly veiled attempt to exclude a black juror, is what they're saying to the prosecution. Now, it should be noted that this jury is very diverse. Reports have claimed that the main juror panel, 4 are white, 2 are Hispanic, 5 are black, and 1 is Asian. And of the 6 alternates, 4 are white and 2 are black. Now, the judge said that they will deal with this before the weekend. And that was, we really didn't get much more information than that, other than that prosecutor, Maureen Comey, said that the government was reluctant to ask for the jurors' removal. But after review, they found that there appeared to be a lack of candor with the court. So what I have come to understand that means is that they believe that there's been some lying, that things aren't right with this juror, and they really didn't want to do this, but they didn't really feel like they had a choice. So we will see what happens tomorrow or the next day. We will find out what is going on with this jury. Now, I also wanted to let you guys know that there was an update regarding Christina Karam, and not in the way that I was expecting. CNN put out this post about it and brought some new information in that I wanted to share with you guys. So, they wrote on CNN, this is not me, this is them, Karam's attorney has not responded to inquiries as to whether she will testify. CNN has also reached out to Karam's attorney for comment regarding the testimony made about her in court, in addition to her being called Diddy's co-conspirator by the prosecution. Now, I had heard that that was something that had happened, that the prosecution had called her the co-conspirator, but I did not see it reported from a major outlet. So here we are. If you want a co-conspirator, they're saying it's KK. Now, in March, after being named as a defendant in the 3 civil cases alongside Diddy, Karam spoke out, denying all wrongdoing in the statement. At that time, Karam's attorney declined CNN an interview request, saying that Karam cannot tell her story until the criminal trial is over and the civil cases are resolved. The civil suits against Diddy, in which Karam is also named as a defendant, are ongoing. She has not been charged with any crimes that at this time that we know of. So, I don't know what is happening with her testifying. People are trying to find out, but it looks like this is incredibly serious, and the prosecutors are obviously, if they're going to call her a co-conspirator in court, that is significant. So that is confirmed now. I can say that for sure, and based on what CNN reported, unless they're lying. And I don't know when she's going to take the stand. We did get, or if she is going to take the stand, we did get a bit more information about who is coming next on the stand at the end of today, so we'll go over that at the end of the recap. So with that, Jane's cross-examination began. So victim 2, Jane, back on the stand, and we go back through the timeline of their relationship, all of these hotel nights that they had and how she felt about them. And the theme of today that I really felt based on what I was reading is let's look at this picture, let's look at this text message, let's hear this voice memo, let's watch this video of the time when this happened, and you seem happy. And then she had to explain what was going on. So she testified that the longest hotel night she could remember was around New Year's New Year's. I keep saying New Year's Eve, but it doesn't say that. It's just New Year's 2022. She estimated that it lasted about 3 days and involved 3 men. Jane said after New Year's, she saw on social media that Diddy went on a vacation with another woman named Gina. Jane read aloud a message she sent him in January of 2022, expressing her frustration about the trip after we had such an amazing New Year's week together. You have me feeling taken advantage of and regretting everything, the message said, in part. Jane testified that she considered breaking up with Diddy after this. Now, Jane testified that she made Diddy come home from that vacation a day early. She told him, if you don't come here now, we're not going to do anything that you want to do, she testified. Garagos asked whether Jane told Diddy that she wouldn't have a Valentine's Day party the way he wanted. She said, yeah, that's the first time I pulled that card, Jane said. The hotel night card? Garagos asked. Yes, Jane said. Jane confirmed that she had planned a hotel night for Valentine's Day that year after Diddy left the vacation he was on with another woman early. She said she decorated the hotel room with rose petals and planned to have 2 entertainers in the room at once. Jane acknowledged that it was her idea to have the 2 entertainers at once, and it was her first time doing that. Jane read some March 2022 messages between her and Diddy that occurred after a hotel night, where Diddy had recently made her delete a photo of food she had posted that indicated that they were together. So follow this though. So Jane posts a photo of a meal that insinuates that the 2 of them are together. Diddy says, take it down. Take it down. She takes it down. Then she sees Gina post a photo wearing a necklace that matched a bracelet that Diddy had gifted her previously. So it honestly kind of sounds like he bought like a jewelry set, like a matching set, and went, okay, I'm going to give her this part, and I'm going to give this one this part, and I'm going to give her this part. Or I don't know, did he buy multiple? I have no idea, but she got mad. Jane testified in the messages. Jane told Diddy to make Gina delete her post and accused him of giving her anxiety. To see these things were deeply hurtful to me, Jane testified. Jane confirmed that she and Diddy went about 2 months without having a hotel night in the spring of 2022. Despite spending time together for several days during that period, on June 19th that year, Diddy suggested he and Jane should have a hotel night. Jane responded, not really in the mood for that part, don't want to make you mad. Diddy said all good and suggested a role-playing scenario instead. Jane testified that they had a movie night watching hotel night footage from the past and other adult films. Oh, I went too far. Gotta bring this up. There we go. Jane would often buy matching shorts for Diddy and the adult workers he hired to have relations with her. So they all had matching outfits. I don't know what to say. She also purchased rhino pills. And I have to watch my language, everybody. But I hope you guys pick up what I'm putting down. These pills were to help men get ready for these hotel nights, and it was a common brand found at gas stations across the country. So she could spend less time getting them ready, because she previously testified she would be forced to perform what I'm going to call the introduction activities of these hotel nights for hours. And it was, she said, it was really not fun having to wind up these guys. Now, Jane read aloud messages between her and Diddy from July of 2022. After exchanging explicit messages, Diddy texted her to call a specific entertainer and then said, or Paul is free. Jane liked the message about Paul. Reportedly, other outlets were saying that Diddy then said, Paul is all we need. For any of you who have been following our recaps, you know about Paul. How could you make me look like that in front of Paul? In later messages, Diddy relayed the details of the time and location of hotel night and asked her, is that cool? The day after, Jane texted Diddy in part, last night was amazing. It was then revealed that Paul, sorry, it was then revealed that Paul was also one of Diddy's personal trainers. It's all about Paul. This is all about Paul. We need Paul. I need Paul on the stand. I need to hear from Paul. This is insane. Now, previously, for those of you that may not be up to date, Paul was Jane's preferred partner for hotel nights because it wasn't that she wanted to do them, but she said if I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody who had a warm energy about them. So it's like at least it was Paul. My speculation, I think Diddy had a liking to Paul. I don't know what kind of liking, but I think he liked Paul. Now, the jury then saw more texts between Diddy and Jane when Jane told him she was kind of icked out by a boo-boo the other entertainer had. And Diddy agreed that that person was a no-go, and that's when they settled on Paul. Um, Jane also confirmed when asked that she thought she recalled spending a few days with Diddy after that late night July hotel night. And Jane confirmed that she and Diddy had um, another hotel night at her home on August 30th of 2022. The next day, Jane texted Diddy in part that that was so much fun, baby, according to messages discussed in court. She then sent him a long message about how much she loved him and appreciated him. My love for you is unconditional and for life, she wrote in the text. Jane confirmed that she sent these messages after a hotel night, but she testified that the feelings she was expressing were directed only at Diddy. And this was kind of a theme throughout the day. They'd be like, well, you said it was amazing. And she's like, yeah, the time I had with him was amazing. The other people, at least it was Paul, but like, I wanted him, right? And that's been consistent through all of her testimony up until this point. And then the explicit and graphic messages came out. As the Washington Post put it, they cannot be published. So I don't have a lot of those. It's kind of funny when you're watching or you're like looking at all the live tweeting and the feeds updating. When things start to get explicit, things slow down. And I don't know if that's because it's, and this is my speculation and my opinion, guys. I'm not in the courtroom. I don't know. But it's like they know that it's going to get really, for lack of a better term, spicy. And then there's the questions of how much of this do we post? And I didn't see a lot of these things come through today. So I don't know what was said, but it was apparently a lot. So the lawyers for Diddy were trying to emphasize the positive or romantic aspects of his nearly 4-year relationship with Jane, and that meant reading aloud these texts about their fantasies. Now, in February of 2023, Jane texted Diddy asking if he could send her something for her birthday festivities. She testified she asked for $15,000 to cover buying an outfit and dinner for her and her friends. She confirmed that Diddy paid for the dinner. But Jane kind of like pushed back when the defense attorney suggested that she enjoyed the dinner, which Diddy did not attend. And she said, I did not have a great birthday, she said, describing the night as just an okay time. And I mean, that's a dinner. That's a dinner. And that would have been an outfit. 15 grand is a lot of money. But it is kind of, I can understand her being frustrated that he didn't come to the dinner. I could see that. Jane later traveled to Miami to celebrate her birthday with Diddy. She texted him asking if Nobu, a sushi restaurant inside of the hotel where she was staying, was the only dinner option. There was a lot about this back and forth that it was like Diddy's like, let's go to Nobu. And she's like, can we go somewhere else? Can we do something different? She testified that she was trying to get out of the hotel. I'm asking if he could please romance me outside of hotel rooms, she testified. The jury then saw photographs of the couple eating at Nobu. Jane testified that she went along with it when Diddy said he had entertainment for her after a birthday dinner. My circumstances were my options in this relationship, Jane testified. If I see him, there is a request for a hotel night, so I'm just adapting to my circumstances. I'm adapting to my environment. So yes, there were moments I suggest or organize things under pressures of my lover. Yes. Garrigo showed the jury a photo that was taken after Diddy gifted Jane a Van Cleef necklace and bracelet for her birthday. Now, for those of you that don't know, that is a very expensive jewelry brand, um, worth a lot of money. A lot of money. Jane testified that she had just received the gifts, taken a pill, taken an X pill, and was waiting for the entertainer to join them. Garagos suggested that Jane took a photo because she was excited. She said, any type of affection at this point in my life that I received from Sean, I received with open arms. Jane testified. She said she was happy to be wrapped up in my lover's arms at that moment. Now, Garagos had really been walking this really narrow line of pressuring the alleged victim about, the intimate situations without appearing too aggressive. And it sounds like she did a pretty good job with that. But at the same time, again, I don't know how much we really got out of this that benefited the defense, but what do I know? Who knows? Maybe when we hear from people that were inside the courtroom today and we're able to tell more tone, because I can't tell tone from reading, right? We will see. Now, jurors have been shown a slew of additional spicy texts that Jane sent to Diddy suggesting she enjoyed hotel nights. But during questioning by prosecutors, Jane said that she had felt that she had to put on a show for Diddy, even in text messages to him. The jury saw a message that Jane sent to Diddy after her birthday celebration. And this was the one where she had relations with 3 entertainers. Jane said that she loved and appreciated every detail you put into my B-Day. Jane testified she was referring to the gifts and the time alone with Diddy. The jury revisited other text messages previously introduced by prosecutors, exchanged after Jane learned Diddy lied to her and took another woman, Young Miami, on a birthday vacation to Turks and Caicos, immediately after Diddy was with Jane for her own birthday, and that was, the wild hotel night. She said it was equally hurtful and emotional for me to see him with another woman on a beautiful vacation, whereas I'm alone and recovering from having to sleep with 3 men I didn't want to sleep with, she said. Jane confirmed that after the fallout, however, after the fallout of how Diddy handled his 2 girlfriends' birthdays, they broke up for several weeks. Jane said when she pushed back on Diddy, he'd say that they should break up, but would be blowing up her phone a week later. One text Jane sent Diddy was, "Why do you lie? I didn't want to do all that on my birthday. You knew how tired I was." Garagos zeroed in on the timing, suggesting that Jane only complained about the hotel nights after she saw Diddy with another woman and got jealous. Jane lashed out in the text, not because of the relationship with Young Miami, she said, but because of how it made me feel after doing something like the birthday hotel night. On March 2nd of 2023, Diddy texted Jane apologizing and saying, "I didn't know I was going to lose one of my closest friends over a stupid lie." Is that what that was? A stupid lie? Interesting. To me, that's just so manipulative. I can't. According to the messages discussed in court, in later messages, he said he missed Jane and he wanted to see her. And Jane responded, "I'm open as friends." She was not impressed when he offered to get a hotel for her, and he responded saying, "You said friends," according to the messages. He then suggested going to Turks and Caicos and started planning their 2023 trip to that location after that. Garagos suggested that Diddy spent about $55,000 on that trip. Jane previously testified that this was a makeup trip that was meant to reconnect them, and that it ended up featuring another hotel night. Now, before the mid-afternoon break, Garagos asked Jane about an exchange she had with Paul. And she asked if Jane remembered admitting, "You've allowed too much and that's your fault." Something she apparently told Paul in 2023 about her dynamic with Diddy. So it's all Paul's fault. It's all Paul's fault. Now, after the short break, Garagos immediately picked up on her cross-examination of Jane by bringing up the informal love contract between her and Diddy. This verbal agreement is a key part of the government's ST case. The couple agreed on a monthly allowance of 10 grand for Jane, which ended up going towards a Los Angeles home for her and her child. And it was revealed during testimony last week that Diddy is still paying the rent for the house. Now, Garagos then pulled up a message Jane sent to an entertainer they saw frequently, Sly, inviting him on the Turks and Caicos trip. Would you be available to come to Turks by any chance? You would need a passport and I think a vaccination card. Let me know what you think, the message said. Jane testified that she sent the text, but said, I believe my lover wanted me to send the message to Sly and invite him on the trip. Jane previously testified that another entertainer, Paul, joined them in Turks and Caicos, and that Sly met her and Diddy once they returned to Miami. She had also testified that she felt she had to see Sly in Miami because she believed she had ruined the hotel night with Paul and Turks. So she felt guilty and manipulated, and she did it. Now, Jane grew emotional and paused to wipe her face with a tissue when she read a text message she sent to Diddy in April of 2023, around the time that she moved into the rented Los Angeles home Diddy still pays for. Jane read aloud a message that said, the fact that you are the reason for my child's joy is a feeling inside me that I can't explain. I love you so much as my friend, my lover, my boyfriend, even though you don't like that word, which is just so incredibly sad to me. She also wrote, you are truly a blessing in my life, and I have never had a man take care of me like you do. Garagos finished reading the text while Jane took a few seconds to compose herself. And again, I understand like what the defense is trying to do here, but I don't think it changes when we're talking about the substances, we're talking about the transporting people, all those types of things. Like, this is a messed up dynamic. This is incredibly messed up. Diddy did not make eye contact when she was breaking down, instead keeping his gaze focused on a screen in front of him showing a transcript. Jane had been under cross-examination for 2 days, and it appears to be taking an emotional toll on her, and she kept her box of tissues on the witness stand. Now, Jane confirmed that she helped take care of Diddy in June of 2023 after he had surgery, and they did not have any hotel nights that month. She testified that they had a hotel night in early July of 2023. Garagos read aloud a message Jane sent Diddy the day after, which said how much she loved him and spending time with him. Jane appeared to get emotional, dabbing her eyes again. And then they approached the bench. There was a sidebar. There were a lot of sidebars today, guys. A lot of them. And then Garagos revisited a time when Jane said she flew to New York in August of 2023 to see Diddy, which Jane testified about in direct examination. The jury saw some of the text between Diddy and Jane where she expressed her anger over Diddy's recent podcast interview. In that interview, Diddy had talked about 48 hours of relations with another woman. Jane then threatened not to go to New York, but after some convincing from Diddy, she went under the impression that they wouldn't have a hotel night. When she was in midair flying to New York, Diddy sent her a link to an entertainer that he wanted to hire once she got there. Jane sent a thumbs up to the link for the online profile of the entertainer. Now, Jane testified that she was just confirming that she saw the link, and the thumbs up can also be a little bit sarcastic. So it kind of sounds like when you're texting, like she liked the text itself. She didn't send like the thumbs up emoji back. It's crazy how much emoji etiquette is now coming into court cases. It's all about the emojis. In October of 2023, Jane and Diddy were arguing over Diddy spending time with one of his other girlfriends, Gina, who Jane said brought a lot of drama into their relationship. Jane testified that Diddy and Gina had a lot of public problems, causing Diddy to bring negativity into his relationship with Jane. At one point, when Jane expressed her frustrations over his relationship with Gina, Diddy texted her, "Girl, stop. You know I don't feed into this. I need you. You're the only thing that's going to put me at peace. Please." According to the messages. Garagos asked Jane, "You thought the hotel nights put him at peace?" "Yes," Jane responded. Jane also agreed when Garagos asked if part of why Jane agreed to hotel nights was because she thought the encounters brought him peace. Yep. And it seems like she did. Garagos returned to the sobriety party We've talked about that in previous cross-examination and I think in cross and as well as prosecution, just testimony. But we have talked about this before. This was when Jane really wanted to see Diddy get off of substances. She was very concerned for his health at this time. And I guess this was the hurrah, right? And she also said that this was one of the 2 times she tried to not use substances during a hotel night with Diddy. Garagos asked Jane if she had agreed to that night. Unfortunately, yes, Jane responded. Garagos pointed out that Jane said unfortunately, but she had agreed to that night. You regret now that you agreed to it. Is that fair? Garagos asked. She said, I resent him for knowing how much I loved him and how I couldn't say no to him, Jane said. Garagos asked her a few more times about regret, with Jane responding each time that she resented Diddy. And you regret it, right? Garagos asked. I believe resent and regret lie in the same feelings, Jane said. Shortly after the New York trip that included the hotel night, Jane apologized to Diddy via text for getting upset with him. Jane had previously testified that she believed it would be a romantic trip. Instead, it was centered around the hotel night, causing her to tell the producer that she was done with hotel nights. Jane ended up getting the Rona from the encounter, and Diddy went to the Howard homecoming in Washington shortly after. That sucks. I love making you happy, Jane told him in the text exchange. No one can ever compare to you. Jane's demeanor on the stand has changed since Tuesday, when she was occasionally defiant. She has cast her eyes downward at times, and she's barely spoken above a whisper. Now, a video was played that it looks like Jane was the one who filmed it. It was like a party video. Diddy expressed how good for each other they were. Diddy told Jane that they needed to pick each other up, isolate ourselves, and do the same thing. And though Diddy did seem to acknowledge that he hadn't been the best boyfriend, saying, I don't want to hurt you no matter what the F is going on. The video began with Combs making loud kissing noises. Now, only the jurors are being promoted to see the evidence regarding Jane, per the court order protecting her anonymity. So everyone else just got to hear the audio of the loud kissing sounds. I'm sure that sounded great, echoing all through the courtroom. We were both tripping, Combs says. I was in a dark hole. You came over here to save me. You did some saving on me? I didn't even know, Jane responds. Clarifying that comment on the stand, Jane said she was referring to his kind words at the time. Diddy then told his ex-girlfriend Jane that Cassie was one of his greatest loves. Garagos brought up Cassie like towards the end of the day. It was like one of like the last things that happened. And then mentioned that Diddy would write Cassie love letters during Jane's time with him. But Jane said she wasn't sure about that. So Diddy's writing love letters to Cassie while with another woman. And then the day stopped. I wanted more information at that point. I wanted to know more. That was one of the things I actually did want to know more about compared to all the things she just kept asking the same questions, but that kind of sucked. Now, the defense, after the jury left, it was basically, we went over housekeeping of what was happening. The defense is expected to finish their cross-examination tomorrow morning with Jane. The prosecution says that the next witness after Jane will be Andre Lamaze, Jonathan Perez, and then the first summary witness, Ms. Sankar. Now, summary witnesses present evidence to the court, often in the form of charts, calculations, or testimony to summarize complex or voluminous information. I'm guessing that's going to be very related to the RICO. Comey said the prosecution needs to regroup and sort out travel logistics for the witnesses beyond those 3. Now, the prosecution is planning to rest next Friday or Wednesday. So a week today or a week Friday. And we don't have court on Thursday. So, like, we have court tomorrow, but the following Thursday. Now, Agnifilo then expressed that he would not be able to say what the defense's schedule was until he knew the witnesses that the prosecution was cutting. So basically, I won't know until they give me more information. So that's that. So we are waiting to find out what's going on with the juror. Jane is returning tomorrow to conclude her testimony. She has an international flight she's got to catch, so she should be done tomorrow. And hopefully, we're going to find out what the heck's going on with the love letters and Diddy and Cassie, because that was weird. But that completely wraps up what we saw today in court, what we heard today in court, based on the reporting from multiple outlets. Thank you so much for watching today or for listening today. If you're listening on the podcast, really appreciate you and your time. If you're watching live, stay tuned. I'm not going anywhere. We can keep talking for a bit, but I am going to end it here now for the recap portion as well as the podcast. So thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow.